you're not going to be able to hear me. My mic is going to be muted. I am going to be on YouTube. So I've just restarted the live on YouTube. Please go on there, and then we'll be off. We'll be off on TikTok, okay? And if somebody else joins and they ask, please help me by just telling them that, you know what, we are on YouTube. You can use the link in my bio. You can use the link in my stories to also go and join. Otherwise, in the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to mute the mic on TikTok. Okay, I want to be able to see what's happening. So I am going to log on here. Okay, let's see. Are we on? Okay. Is there sound? Okay, the sound is working. I just wanted to keep track of that. Let me say hello. Listen to me saying hello to myself. TikTok people, please go and join on YouTube. Use the link in my bio to go on YouTube. I am going to put the mic off on TikTok, so you're not going to be able to hear me. If you want to be part of the conversation, please go on YouTube. I am muting the mic in like 3 minutes, and then you guys won't be able to hear, because the whole conversation is going to be on YouTube. And we got some notes. We've got a lot to go through. So if you really want to get that information, please then just go on there. Basically, before we even start, before I mute you guys, let me just tell you the reason why I'm doing this, right? Usually companies start hiring again extensively from like October. So we are having a little bit of a head start before October, before they start hiring again, so that you get your CV in order, you get everything you need to get done before the surge of people getting hired again, okay? So we are going to be having these lives every Thursday for the rest of this month. So we are doing it today, we'll do it next week, we'll do it the week after that. And we're going to be touching on different topics. For today, it's CVs. Next week, it will be something different, but I will create the live and put it on my YouTube so that you can set notifications and things like that. Anyway, with that said, I think we've got some people on YouTube. I'm gonna give my attention there. Like I said, on TikTok, I'm going to be muting the mic. You guys can use the link in my bio to join, and we are gonna go on with this conversation, okay? You're just going to see my lips moving. Anyway, hi YouTube. How are you, YouTube? I had missed being on YouTube. Hi Okuhle. Next time I need to get someone who can like manage my chat. Okay, next time we need to do that. But anyway, guys on YouTube, how are you doing? If this is your first time here and we've never met, whether it's on my TikTok lives or wherever on the social media platforms that are here, this is your first time seeing me. I'm V. I am known on social media as Remote V because I basically talk about remote work. I've been working remotely for the past 3 years. It's almost 3 years now. I'm like 2 months away from it being 3 years on the dot. And I basically just have these lives where we talk about remote work. I give you information to kind of help you navigate the space, get a job, and all that jazz. In today's session on YouTube, we are going, this is actually my first session after I got partially monetized, okay? Happy. Anyway, so we are going to be talking about CVs, basically to help the people who are having issues putting their CVs together. And maybe you just want to know like what should be on your CV, how to put it, and things like that. So that is exactly why I prepared for us to have this live, right? And I've got my little notes here. If you know anything about me, I like being prepared, okay? So I decided to put my notes together so that I do not skip, jump, or miss anything. And if you are an intelligent babe, you are going to make sure you've got your little notebook or like a little piece of paper on the side, or maybe your iPad, your laptop, where you can be putting down your notes, right? Anyway, that said, I wanted to do this thing because I really believe that your CV is that thing that opens up a door for you. When you send your CV in, people have not met you, they have not had any interaction with you. So your CV is supposed to make the first impression before people then decide, before they decide whether they want to call you in for an interview or not, right? So, I have been gone for long, guys. I know. But we are back now and we are partially monetized. So, you guys better use those thank you chats or whatever they use on YouTube to like donate or whatever. Let's use that. Let's make sure it's all working because your girl is almost fully monetized now. Anyway, so starting off, like I said, your CV is basically the first interaction that people have with you in your absence. So you really need to make sure when you're sending it, it's something that makes a really good first impression, right? So what are some of the things you need to know before you even put your CV together? I'm sure a lot of you here have put a CV together and you have applied for a job at some point in your life. I would like to believe. But are you confident enough? I actually want you guys to tell me. Do you believe you're confident in your current CV? Please just put it in the chat. I would like to know. Are you confident with your current CV that you've got right now? Is there something that you would say you're particularly not comfortable with? Or is there something that you kind of feel like is wrong with your CV? Like, what's the vibe there when it comes to your own CV? Because I know a lot of people struggle. Just like a week or two ago, I was literally calling my brother late at night, telling him, I need you to change your CV here and here and here, because he was saying, I've been looking for a job and I just don't know what's happening. I mean, obviously, the job market is kind of in the pits right now. That's number one. But secondly, your CV really needs to hit the spot for people to then consider calling you in for an interview. So, just a few general things that you should know before you start sending your CV, right? Before you even start putting your CV together. Excuse me, I need to put something on my lips because they look so dry. A few things that you should keep in mind. You essentially want to make sure when you're sending it, it is in PDF format. That's number one. General things to note: make sure your CV is in PDF, not Word, not any other format, unless if the company has told you it needs to be this specific format. Okay, because there are some companies, like you guys know, I've always talked about JobDuck because that's how I got my job, right? I've always talked about them a lot, and for them, they always specify that we want your CV to come in .doc. So you need to make sure in an instance where a company says it needs to be .doc or whatever, you have related your CV should always be in PDF format. And then secondly, you want to make sure, remember I spoke about how your CV is the first impression people have of you. You want to make sure your CV has no spelling errors and it is grammatically correct. How are you going to do that? Some of the things you can do, once you've put it together, get somebody else to read it. Proofread it for you to make sure there's no mistakes or whatever. If you're looking to apply for a job, maybe do your CV today. Don't send it right away. Give yourself a few hours away from it, and then you can go back, read through it, just to make sure you look through the spellings, the grammar, your punctuation, just to make sure by the time you send it is as perfect as possible. Okay, and one line that I believe I am known for is saying that, there's nothing perfect in the world. I personally don't even believe in perfection. But when it comes to your CV, it needs to be as close to perfection as possible. So that's why you're going to check your punctuation, your spelling, and your grammar as well. Thirdly, you want to make sure you customize your CV each and every time that you're sending it, right? I'm going to try and make this a little bit more interactive. I just don't know how to do that on YouTube, I'll be very honest with you. And I guess also because on YouTube, when I come on live, I'm not working. I just don't know how to make it a little bit more interactive. And then you also need to make sure you customize your CV, right? So customize. It doesn't matter how many positions you're applying for. And let me give you an example. This morning, actually, I woke up to prepare for our live. I woke up to prepare this live, and then while I was preparing for the live, something, well, not something, just popped up. I started just, browsing on the internet. I came across a position that I was like, I would love to apply for this, and I am qualified for it. I am currently in a position that is exactly like what that position is. And the beauty of always having a customized CV is that I did not need to redo my CV. It was already customized for that specific position. All I needed to do was to read through it and just make sure exactly what they are requiring was already on my CV. And then another thing I did, which also didn't require me to go and change a whole lot of things on my CV in terms of what they were requiring. I just made sure when there's a part in the application where they're like, please give us a background and your experience and all of that, I literally used all of their requirements, but also I used them, but it's also true. I do have all the requirements. That's where I ended up just putting them in that little paragraph without then trying to plug them into my CV. But basically, what you want to do is to always customize your CV. If you're someone who's like, I've got experience working in 3 different positions and you want to be applying for jobs in these 3 different positions, you're not going to use the same CV for all 3. You're going to customize, and you can keep a CV that is already customized for that specific position, which is what I was explaining happened to me this morning. I've got a CV already customized for legal assistant positions. I've got one for customer service if I want to go into customer service. So that's what you want to do. Keep it already customized. And then if something then happens that you read through whatever they are requiring and your CV is maybe lacking 1 or 2 of the things they are pointing out, then you are going to plug that in. That is when you just edit and customize it a little bit more so that it fits exactly what they're looking for, right? And then number 4, you also want to always keep your CV pretty short, concise, and it should have all the relevant information that is needed in order for you to actually get the job, okay? So in keeping it concise, your CV is expected to at least, okay? For the people who have worked many years, this might be a bit of a challenge, but you always want to keep it at least 1 to 3 pages maximum. However, if you do have a lot of experience that you feel they need to know about and it needs to be on your CV, then please, you can make it longer than that. If you feel that is going to be the thing that helps them make a decision on whether they should move forward with you or not, you're welcome to make it longer. But generally, you want to keep the information concise. You don't want to make your CV too long. You don't want to put too much fluff just to make the CV long. Okay? Because first of all, we are going to talk, someone wrote something about ATS here. When it comes to your CV being ATS friendly, there's the part where it's mostly customization. You also don't want to make it too long. And when I speak on customization, sorry, my mind is going everywhere because I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this. When it comes to customization, right, you're going to read through to make it ATS friendly in terms of customizing it. You want to make sure you read through the job description that you're trying to apply for. Read through your CV and see if it aligns. If it doesn't, this is the part where you're going to customize your CV using what is listed as the requirements on the job description. I hope somebody gets it. I feel like saying hallelujah, like I'm preaching. But anyway, that's exactly what you want to do. And then of the 5 general things that I said you need to know, the 5th thing is to keep your CV professional. You really don't need to make your CV pretty and flowery. And some people might think, oh my God, no. If you are someone who is into, let's say you're a graphic designer, you are a photographer, you do something that's arty, something that is very creative, then by all means, feel free to show your creativity on your CV. For everybody else who is not in a creative space, You want to keep your CV as professional and as simple as possible. Yes, there are instances where people want to gray out the side panel and then you want to highlight here. Don't do too much. Do not do too much, please. It is not necessary. Because at the end of the day, in order for you to be invited for an interview or in order for you to get the job, they are looking at the contents of your CV, not how pretty your CV looks. You need to have value on your CV, not to make your CV flowery and prettier and all that stuff. Yes, it must be well presented, but you should just keep it very simple. It's just a professional document. Nothing extra is needed. So just to reiterate this, and if somebody is nice enough to type it for us so that anyone who's joining is able to get it, please go ahead and type it for me. We said the five things that we need to remember is, firstly, to make sure you will send your CV either in PDF format or in whatever format the company asks for. Secondly, you need to make sure your CV is error-free. Error in the sense that the grammar is correct, your spelling is correct, and your punctuation is correct. Okay? And then the third thing, you need to customize your CV for each position that you're applying for. Fourth thing, keep it concise. You don't want to add fluff on it. Keep it concise. And when you do that, you will find when you're customizing and keeping it concise, you will only list the things that actually make sense, the things that matter. So that's why. Keep it concise. And lastly, you want to keep it as professional as possible. Right? I see nobody wanted to write. It's okay. I hope you guys will remember. Okay? I hope you will remember. Now, the last things that, well, not last, the other things we're going to talk about, those are the general things you need to know, right? What makes up a CV? Like, what are the things that should be on your CV? Obviously, it's a whole lot of things, right? But here is what you need to understand. Your CV needs to have the first section. We will go and touch on these one by one. I'm just going to list them first, and if somebody else wants to write it on our chat, please feel free to do so. But yeah, so firstly, you're going to have your contact information. You need to have your personal statement or profile. You need to have your work experience, education, skills, and then your reference. Did somebody get that? Did somebody get that? I am talking too much. I can't even hear. I can't even feel my throat. Let me just remind TikTok people because they feel so left out. Hey, Betha, I see you guys are saying I'm muted. I am. That's why I put this here so that you know we are live on TikTok, on YouTube. Please go on YouTube if you want to hear the audio. Please, okay? Cool. Bye. You can use the link in my bio to go to my YouTube, okay? Cool. Anyway, hi Hayla. Mine is as stiff and professional as one can get. Do not fidget with it too much. Yeah, don't fidget with it too much. Anyway, so we said we're going to talk about what should be on your CV. The sections that should be on your CV, it's your contact information, your personal statement or your profile, your work experience, education, skills, and your references. I will also go on to say references will either be a must according to how you feel as a person, because, you know, I can't tell you that is what should be on it, because I have been doing CV reviews for the past like 2-3 years now, and most people, well, maybe not most. I have half of half. You've got people who will send me a CV for review and it's got references. And then there are others who don't have references because according to them, it's like, why? So I leave this for you to decide if you want to put references or not. But I will talk about why I personally have references on my CV and why I usually advise other people to have references on their CV. But we'll talk about later on. Anyway, so with your contact information, which is supposed to be the very first section of your CV right at the top, Your contact information should include your first and last name. It should be your full name, right? It should also include your email address, should also include your phone number, and then your LinkedIn or your professional website if you do have a professional website, or maybe you want to link a portfolio or something like that. Okay, did we get that? Are we getting that? Are we getting it? I see the little hearts coming. I appreciate that. But yeah, so your contact information, it should be your name, your email address, your phone number, your LinkedIn, or your professional website, or you can also include your portfolio, which is something we are going to talk about. I actually have a TikTok video that will be coming out about portfolios. If you didn't know, I am actually trying to look for another job, okay? But it's not yet out there. I'm just doing it so that we can have like a point of reference to say this is how the job market is right now. This is how interviews are going on right now. So in June, weird enough, in June, I started an application process with this other company that I just came across. And weird enough, they took me through a few processes and then they had gone quiet. A week after I sent the last thing they required, I then followed up with them. It's almost a month now. I literally only woke up today to an email they sent me yesterday giving me an update. So I am documenting that process and we will be talking about it. But anyway, yeah, that's what you want to do. And then things that you shouldn't include in your contact information. And guys, when I talk about these things, I'm not just pulling it out of my ASS. Like, I am not. I have reviewed a lot of people's CVs, and these are some of the things I come across, right? So I've already given you what should be on the CV, what shouldn't be on your contact information. There are people who will add on their gender. Nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to know your gender unless if they ask for it. If asked for it, this is what I always say. If you're asked for information, then please provide it. But if it's not required and it's not stipulated that we need this information, there's no reason for you to provide it. Because the things I'm going to tell you now, when you put it on your CV, those are things that can be used against you. Those are things that feed into people's biases. So you don't want to feed someone's bias before they even have a chance to meet with you. Okay, so things you shouldn't put on your contact information, or at least on your CV. Your gender, nobody needs it. Your ID number, I don't know why back in the day we used to do this, but please don't do it. Don't put your ID number. Do not put your exact address on your CV. If you're to put your address on your CV, you don't need to put your exact location. Okay, fine. If you want to put the street name, it's okay. If you want to put just the area that you live in, that is okay. But do not put that you stay at number 57 Mount Pleasant Road. No. Nobody needs to know that. Nobody needs to know exactly where you live. You also don't need to put your marital status on your CV. And this is usually, a lot of people usually kind of dispute this one, because there's this thing, people think if you're married, then you're probably more professional, you're more responsible, but that can also work against you, especially if you're a woman. If you're married, it's not necessarily going to work in your favor all the time. Women, we tend to put our families above everybody else. So someone might look at that and think, I know. Or they look at you and they think, because you're a woman, this is with the gender. Because you're a woman, they might not hire you, because we all know the whole pregnancy thing when it comes to working, which is very, I was about to say stupid, but that's the word that's coming to mind. Like, it's very stupid for people to say they're not gonna hire because women get pregnant and they need time away from work. But you see, those are the things you don't want to feed people into their biases. And then you also don't want to put your age. Obviously, remote jobs require you to be 18 and above. So as long as you're 18 and above, please carry on, send that application, apply for that job, but you don't need to stipulate that this is your age. But again, I will repeat myself. If you are asked for any of this information, please provide it. On your CV, it is not compulsory. But if they write back to you and they're like, girl or guy, we need to know, are you a girl or a guy? Are you 18 or are you 65? Then please provide that information, right? So that's it for our contact information. Hey Taki, hey Ranzo, how are you guys? Becky Sizwe, hi. So your working experience. So when it comes to your working experience, you're going to list your previous jobs in reverse chronological order, okay? This is where I was saying earlier, your CV really shouldn't be that long. But if you feel that you've worked at companies that really showcase your experience, then please go ahead, put it on your CV. If it becomes very long, but you feel it will actually open the door for you, please then add it on. But in you adding it on, always start with your most current position right at the top. That's reverse chronological order. So you start with the most current and you work your way backwards. So you're basically, if you started working in 2015, that's when you got your first job, that will be the last. I hope this did not affect our live. That's nice. Anyway, sorry for that. This is someone who knows me. This is someone who knows me personally, and they're like, you're muted on TikTok. I know, but that's sweet. Thanks for letting me know. Anyway, so we're talking about working experience, ne? So the first thing, you're going to list everything in reverse chronological order. Hey, where did the English go? Dang, girl. And then you want to make sure as you are listing it, you write your job title, the company name, and the dates of employment. Did we get that? Are we together or am I just yapping too much, guys? Like, I'm gonna need you to say something. Say some. Are you guys still alive? Pratik, yes, I do charge for a one-on-one consultation. You're welcome to send an email to team@vchilimanzi.com in order for you to get that, okay? Anyway, so let's repeat that. For work experience, we say number one, you're going to list your previous jobs in reverse chronological order. Secondly, you want to make sure as you're listing them, you put the job title, the company name, and the dates of employment. Lastly, you want to also put a brief description of your responsibilities. I know it says brief description, right? But essentially, you actually want to do this in bullet form. So list about 3, 5, maybe 6 different things that you used to do in that role. Those are your responsibilities. And hopefully they actually do match with what is being looked for in that job description of the position you're applying for. Now, your personal statement. This is exciting. This is interesting. Your personal statement or your profile, it's basically a brief overview of your career goals, your skills, and your experience. Think of it as, when you're going through applications these days, you're doing an online application, they tell you, please introduce yourself. It's basically a way of you introducing yourself, but professionally. So you're only going to talk about your career goals, your skills, and your experience. And you don't want to make it too long. It literally just needs to be one paragraph. I would personally say not more than 5 lines on your CV. Anything more than that, like, we didn't ask for an essay, Okay. Thanks, Martha and Taki. They did not ask for anything more. Just a little brief introduction, highlight your career goals, talk about your skills and your experience. It's basically a little, make yourself shine. Kind of tell us about yourself. What do you think we need to know in order for us to even consider you, in order for us to keep going through your CV. That's basically your little introduction. And then you also want to make sure this part, you tailor it to the specific job you're applying for. Hey, Kao, how are you? The third part, the fourth part is going to be your education. This, I believe, is very straightforward. You're going to list your degrees, your diplomas, any type of qualification, certifications that you have taken. This is where you put them. Again, you're going to list these in reverse chronological order, the same way that you do with your working experience. You're going to list the most recent one and work your way backwards. And on here, you are going to, again, make sure you make sure you stipulate what institution you were at and your graduation dates as well. Cool? Cool. I guess we are still together because nobody's complaining. Anyway, so the last part, that will be your skills. So with your skills, guys, there are people, I don't know, like, how do some people put a CV together and they don't even list their skills? Because how must we know what are you capable of? I know you've listed your previous responsibilities in your previous jobs, but you still need to put your skills, because that doesn't necessarily show us what you're competent in. What technical skills do you have? What type of tech systems are you familiar with? This is where you list all of that. So you're going to list your hard and soft skills, your communication, how good of a communicator are you, your proficiency in a certain language. This is the part where you're listing all that. If you want to separate the two on your CV, that is okay, but it's quite acceptable for you to just write skills and then you mix up your hard and soft skills. If you want to separate, write down skills and you put your soft skills and you put your hard skills, that is okay. But this is definitely the part people should know. How amazing are you? How competent are you, right? And yeah, guys, are we still together? Sorry. Guys, you know what's nice? The fact that I have muted my TikTok, but they're still giving me hearts. They are still liking it. Do you understand how much that is, how much love that is? Like, do you understand? I think it's time I unmute so that we talk about the last things that you should keep in mind when putting your CV together, right? Anyway, TikTok, come back. Hello, hi. Anyway, so the last few things that you would need to pay attention to on your CV, and these are optional. Like I said earlier, references, that I will leave it as optional. However, the reason why I said I would explain this to you, the reason why I personally advise on putting references on your CV, especially if you are applying, especially if you're applying for a remote job, is the fact that number one, okay, not even especially, guys, if you're applying for a job, I kind of feel like references should be on your CV. And I'm going to explain, a lot of people are looking for jobs right now. You don't want to leave your CV with critical information that is not readily available. We are all here, all of us here. You are here because you want this information because you're looking for what? For a job. So don't leave anything to chance. If you're sending a job, my one example that I'm always given, let's take, for example, I'm going to use somebody who's here, Tacky, because I'm so used to Tacky. Let's say there is Tacky and there is V. And the two of them, they are applying for jobs, right? And then Tacky, because she's so intelligent and she's so switched on, her CV contains everything that's needed, plus references at the bottom. And in your references, you would make sure you've put the company name, you've put the name of the person they're going to be contacting, you would also put their position within the company, and then you're going to put their email address and their phone number. Email address has to be there specifically for remote jobs. Email address is essential. It needs to be there, right? Tacky, because she's very intelligent and switched on, very switched on, she's put all that information on there. And then here comes V, because V is just like, you know what, whatever. I've been applying for jobs for the past 3 years. I'm getting nothing. So I'm just going to send it as it is. There she goes. V just sends her CV, no references. It's all riffraff. She's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll leave it to chance because I've been doing this for 3 years, nothing has happened. She sends her CV like that. These CVs get there. Both of us, we are applying for a legal assistant position. The recruiter is going to obviously look at the two CVs. Haibo, Taki provided everything. Amazing, because this is what we want. We want people who do not slow us down. And this is exactly where you start. The application process is the part where you start showing what type of employee you could be within a company. So from the very first part of you putting your CV together, keep these things in mind. Ne? What's going to happen? This recruiter now, they've looked through Taki's CV. Taki's CV has everything. They are impressed. They are going to get in touch with Taki's references. This is day one. But then they look at V's CV, they're like, oh damn, we need references. Now they must email V and be like, yo V, we received your CV. We are happy with it. We are kind of happy with it, but we kind of need references, girl. So please give us some references. They send this email to V, but you know what? The girl is just like, you know what? I am tired of looking for a job. She doesn't see that email. 24 hours passes, and then like on the second day, that's when she sees that she got a response. And she's like, oh my God, I gotta get references. Okay, cool. She starts getting in touch with these people that are supposed to be the references she wants to provide. It will take her another 24 hours for them to get back and let her know if they are okay with her putting them on her CV. Already 2 days have gone by. At this point, these guys have gone through, they've talked to Taki's what? References. And they are happy. Now they're like, oh, okay, we are happy. Taki, we are inviting you for an interview next week, Monday. Here, schedule. What time do you want? Ah, what do you know? Vanessa is still trying. V is still trying to get in touch with her references. 2 days have gone by. 3 days. Now she's got a response from these people to say, okay, cool, we can be your references. Now she must email the recruiter back. Oh, these are my references. Day 4 now, the recruiter starts contacting the references. Like, you are already behind. And I am saying this in the best case scenario, they are still considering you. They are emailing you, telling you we need this information or whatever. However, in some instances, they might just leave you because they literally just have a position for one person. They've received 10 CVs and 5 or 6 of those had references. Do you really think people are going to take the time to start emailing the 4 people who didn't provide references if they could get their employee from the 6 who provided everything they needed? Nah, babes. So that's my reason to say, you know what? Rather provide that information up front. But if you want to play the whole back and forth game, I will not stop you. Okay. Anyway, the last thing that I was going to talk about, right? The optional stuff. Obviously, I said it's your references. Secondly, you can put like your publications or presentations you have done on your CV. Hey, Bantu. So this is if you have presented something big, maybe you've worked for the UN or you were invited by WHO and they asked you to do like some sort of presentation, which is a big deal because it was published in like big platforms, maybe in the newspaper, maybe it was on TV, or maybe it was just something really big. Those are the things that people also look at and they see how much of an impact you could make within their organization. If you are able to make an impact in a position where you are at right now, when people are looking to hire you, they picture you doing exactly what you have done or what you have achieved. They picture you doing that within their organization. So if you know you've done some presentations and things like that, and you're like, I'm a big deal, okay, you're welcome to add that on your CV. And then you can also add if you got any awards, any honors and things like that. That's also optional for you to put on your CV. If you're part of any professional associations, that is also amazing for you to put on your CV. You need to also put if you volunteered if you've worked on certain projects that you feel would literally give an idea of what type of employee you would be or what type of person you are professionally, then yes, please go and add those. But again, it is totally up to you. If you did volunteer something on doing something, right, but it doesn't align with the position you're applying for, I don't see a reason for you to put that on your CV. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, your CV just needs to have the information that is relevant and useful for the current position you're applying for. Nothing else should be on it. Just put the things that open up that door for you, for someone to say, okay, cool, we are kind of impressed with this CV, we can invite you for any interview. I think we've done an amazing job, guys. Ne? I think we've done an amazing job. In TikTok, next time you better be on YouTube. Anyway, I hope you guys had, what is it called? You had a lot of, not necessarily fun, but I hope you got all the information that you need in order to put your CVs together. Next week, we will be on again on Thursday at 1 p.m. Any tips for someone in the early stages on how to stand out in application and when crafting CV? So were you here? Were you here the whole time that I've been talking? And I asked that because before I answer you, we talked about these things. That's why I'm asking. Tembisile, I love you, babes. Thank you for coming on here. Anyway, Rafi, also, if you don't mind answering that, please do answer. Otherwise, you're welcome to send an email and then maybe we can have a one-on-one together. But anyway, guys, that's all I had prepared for you. I am not going to have an open question and answer session for here, right? We are not going to have a question and answer. We'll do a question and answer one of these days, but next week we are going to be live again. Just keep an eye on my channel. I will make sure I have created the live so that you guys can set your notifications or whatever. I'll do it by this weekend so that by the time we get to Thursday, you have set up your notifications. You're all ready to be part of the conversation. I just hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, personally, I did because I hadn't been on YouTube in so long. I hadn't been here in so long. This has been nice. And also going forward, we've got super chats and super what guys. I don't even know how to make use of those things, but all I know is that it's monetization on YouTube. So use that as much as you can. And yeah, we are going to meet again on TikTok a bit later in the day when I start work. I will chat with you guys again next week on Thursday. Tembisile, you'll see on the thingy. The topic you'll see on my channel. Like I said, I'll create a whole live event that you can set notifications for. Hey, Lebo. Guys, this has been amazing. I've yapped for so long. I can't even feel my own throat. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday and enjoy your weekend, actually. Those of you on TikTok or those of you who want to come on TikTok, we will be on TikTok a little bit later in the day today. But on YouTube, we will be here on Thursday next week. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. It has been nice. For those of you who have been asking for YouTube videos, I am coming back on YouTube. I am still, getting things together. I will be back though. But for now, I hope these lives work for you. And I hope the shorts that I've been posting also work for you. Okay? Bye!